Hello once again, Star Wars unboxing fans. Welcome to a strange odds and ends episode of Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing Show. I'm your host, Darth Tuba, here with a few odds and ends items. So I'm calling this the odds and ends episode. I actually have a playlist called Odds and Ends. I'll probably put this in that playlist. So I have 4 items here, very vastly different from one another. Well, I guess 2 of these could be considered similar at the bottom. We have an Entertainment Earth and an Amazon box, which we'll get to later. But the first 2 items I want to talk about, something very, very new and something very, very old. Okay, we'll start with the new. Let's push all this off to the side here. So I'm sure you've seen the absolute craziness that has been the blue milk, the True Moo blue milk, sales that have been going on around May the 4th. And this was a mass-produced thing, at least up where I'm living. It was a mass-produced product. And I did manage to grab it. I did manage to take a sip of it, or 2 or 3. It was really, really good. It was very, very sweet. And being a diabetic, I have to be a little careful with that. Okay, I don't even like to drink regular milk because it has a lot of carbs in it, and I got to be careful with that. This has an extraordinary amount of carbs. So I took a few sips, I took a few tastes, I put it in my cereal, tried to emulate the guy from Andor, just a few times. But after a while, now the thing is that we don't even drink regular milk. We drink we have almond milk or coconut milk, and they last a lot longer, So I forgot that regular milk, even though this was kind of treated, it was a vanilla flavored milk, actually, it started to go bad. And I didn't drink it after that, but it was just kind of I forgot about that. But of course, as a collector and a lover of all things ephemera, I kind of like at least the label. I don't need a container. I know some people do some creative things. So, to give you some ideas, if you were interested, I saw one vlogger actually poured small blue pebbles that you would put in a fish tank, filled it up with that. Some people use marbles, filled it up with that. I think those are great, and that would make this marbles or rocks. Filling this up with marbles or rocks would make this a really wonderful doorstop. So it's a little heavy and it's a little bulky. So I have another thing I want to do. I'm really just interested in the label. Now, you could try to peel it. I did start doing that, but right away it started to come off. True Moo probably should have come up with a label that was more removable, but maybe they don't want to do that because people take them off and whatever. And that makes sense too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to deface this completely, and I'm going to use my cutter, and I'm going to actually just take off I'll use my box here so you can see it. I'm just going to take my little slicer and very gently go through this. Just getting around, doing a rough cut around the outside of it. Okay. And just make sure I get the whole label. You could use this as a luminary around the holidays. You can put a candle in there and light it up if you want. And then I just have that. Now I'm going to be a little bit more clean with this and try to get it closer to the edge. I have my little work thing here. And I'm just going to trace it around. Not a lot, I'm sure some people will do far more creative things with it. But I have a nice little kind of scrapbook that I put all of my ephemera. By the way, ephemera is what I used to describe Star Wars collectibles that are really not meant to be collectibles. They're collectibles that people would just basically throw away. So, and there you have a nice, it probably will curl up, okay? But if you put it in a scrapbook pretty quickly, you'll probably be okay with it. I have one of those with the pages that go over it, and then it just kind of has a sticking in the back. So, there you go. It's a nice little reminder of the time. Remember that time? It's kind of one of those things. You look at stuff and it brings you back to a moment in time. Do you remember that time when for the May the 4th, this company did a blue milk, and remember how good it was, or remember how bad it was? Personally, I'm still a fan of the blue milk from Galaxy's Edge. It has a nice kind of fruity flavor to it. It's more of a smoothie, and it really is very refreshing. Very refreshing. Whereas milk, in the hot weather, wouldn't really cut it. So I like that. But I love this tastes good, and I love having this little reminder about it. So that's one. All right, next up, what do I have here? Well, I might have mentioned this on the channel, but I've been you know, as I, you know, it's so funny. As you know, as I've been saying, I'm like thinning out the collection, yet I still manage to find things I want to keep collecting. So in a lot of ways, I am thinning out the collection in favor of adding to the collection. So what do I find? Well, I find things like this. Now, you might ask what this is. It says Return of the Jedi on it, and it is in fact a Return of the Jedi item. It is a weapons container, an accessories container for Star Wars action figures. Anybody know where this goes? I'm sure some older folks might remember. So one of the things I've been kind of into lately is collector cases. I had a bunch of them growing up, but if you looked on a previous episode, you noticed that I got the Return of the Jedi, or at least part of the Return of the Jedi collector's case, along with a space case, which was basically just a knockoff, but it was very popular because it looked Star Warsy, and they didn't have Star Wars collector cases yet, so that was what we used. And then they had an Empire one that came out, and the Jedi one, like I before mentioned, they had a couple of Darth Vader head collector case, C-3PO head. They had a laser rifle that just was basically just a huge collector case. You opened it up. But here's one that they had that is a little bit more weird. And that is the Chewbacca bandolier strap. I can't really wear it because it's really not my size. It is very, very small. So, but it had these little things that you would actually place the figures in. Now, if I tried to do that now, maybe I can try to do that now. Here's my Chewbacca, or a Chewbacca. If I tried to place him in here, what would happen? Well, if I had him up like that, he'd be fine. But if I had him sideways, he'd fall through. Why? Because there used to be like a foam, similar foam to those collectors, if you remember the Dagobah sinking foam and the Dagobah playset, or the foam pieces from the Death Star. It was that type of foam. Well, that kind of foam is, in fact, degrades. It just degrades. It goes away. It gets kind of sticky, and then it just kind of becomes almost like a rubber cementy kind of thing, and it gets on your fingers, and eventually you just end up tossing it. So that's kind of what happened. You can see little remnants of it right there. I'm not going to replace my foam here, nor am I going to go buy a new one. So I had this, and I just realized, I have one container. Oops, going to fall. I have one container, but it was missing the other. Problem solved. Now, granted, I don't remember if this one had a sticker on it, and it no longer has a sticker. I might replace the sticker. I might not. I mean, it's okay. I kind of like it as is. It's fine. But that is my little bandolier strap. I will tell you that it is not a very sturdy thing. As I said, don't try putting a figure in this without any foam. It will fall. You can probably buy some replacement foam, but be aware that unless, I don't know, maybe they have special foam that won't degrade, but and if you did find that, that's kind of bad for the environment. So I'm kind of like, let's just let it. It's a nice memory. So that's my second item. All right, Chewy, you done good. Good demonstrating. You can go back. All right, and now we go to much more new, much more modern, new. And at the time of this recording, we are preparing very much for the Star Wars sale that I'm doing. I do an annual Star Wars sale where I thin out my collection and I put it out into out of my garage. It is a garage sale, and yeah, there's pretty much some garage sale prices for people that are interested in maybe obtaining a collection. I will have a video very soon. Once I get it all set up, I will put out a video. I'm going to save, normally I pre-record, because sometimes my day job I get too busy and I can't record everything every week. So I've been timing it so that when we get to the week of, I'm going to pre-record. I'm only going to pre-record by like a day. I will say that, just a heads up for anybody that might be interested, if you're local, I invite you to come out and see it. It's going to be a 3-day event. It's going to be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I might extend it to Sunday if the weather's good and it seems like there's a lot of interest. It will be from like 9 to 3. Okay, I'm not giving my address on here, but if you're interested, I can send you my Facebook link where it has all the information there. But I would only do that if you were semi-local. I would not fly or drive a very long distance for this. It's be a pretty big Star Wars themed sale, but it's not going to be, I don't think it's drive worthy or fly worthy. However, when I do like a week before, I will put out a video and I'll kind of go through the whole table, have everything set up, you'll see what's out there. if you're interested in something and I post a video and you want to make an offer on something, you can do that, but be aware that that's got to be like money sent to me right away. If it doesn't get sent to me via Venmo or something like that ahead of time, it isn't going to fly, because I would, maybe post. Then it might be easier if I do a post video and see what's left, and then I have a little bit more time to do that. But anyway, I digress. So we are moving on. We are just getting our trickled in vintage collection figures. Looks like it's just one. Thank you very much, box. You may go over there. Boop. This is VC 314. I can't believe we're that much into the 300s. Mandalorian Fleet Commander. These are some cool figures. These are the figures that I'm kind of looking forward to. I mean, I try to buy the figures right away. I want to send the message to Hasbro to keep making some vintage collection figures. I, unlike many of my fellow collectors, I'm actually happy that they're a little bit more limited with how they release these figures. I'm good with that. I don't need excessive numbers of figures, okay? Especially since we're already up to 314, and that's just the vintage collection. We haven't even talked about the hundreds of figures, probably 800 to 900 figures that existed before that. Granted, some of these, before now, I would say like 5 years ago, before The Mandalorian came out, a lot of these figures in the vintage packaging were just retreads of figures that they've already had. But now, most of these are pretty new. All right, yeah, they do some clone and R2 releases and re-releases and stuff like that. But that is again, you got the photo real facial features. But again, you can. This is definitely an army builder. So there's a part of me that's hoping that maybe they do a 4-pack of the Mandalorian fleet, so that we can have an army of them. So that is really cool. All right, last but not least. Now this is funny. I ordered an item, non-Star Wars related, and they just decided to ship that item. It was a little thing in a little box, in a huge box, and I thought that was a little odd because I didn't realize that they were going to do that, and then I realized that they decided to put two things in one box. So this is the, I don't know if it has any. I'm sure I received a heads up that it was coming, but the only thing I know right off the top of my head is that being that it has a Hasbro thing, and I only order Star Wars from Hasbro, it's got to be a Hasbro thing. But it came from Amazon, so that was what was weird. But I do think there were some either Amazon exclusives or just things that I happened to order via Amazon. Figure. Clone Wars. Oh, I think I know what this is. All right, yeah, I've been hearing some people talking about this. Boom. We have the Ahsoka Tano awesome 4-pack of Ahsoka and 3 droids from the, was it the last episode or the second? I think it's the last or second to last episode of the Clone Wars, where Order 66 happens. Folks, if you are not a Clone Wars watcher, I understand. Okay, there are people that just don't get into animation. I understand that. If you're not a huge fan of Ahsoka, I understand that too. But now that Ahsoka is a live-action character, I think, and if you are invested in the live-action Ahsoka and other live-action series, I strongly suggest that you watch even just the season 7 last 4 episodes. I think it's 4 episodes, where you see Ahsoka, arrest Darth, capture Darth Maul. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. And this is all taking place right when Order 66 happens. Right as the time that Anakin turns to Darth Vader, and then the Emperor says execute Order 66. It happens while Ahsoka is on board a cruiser filled with hundreds of clones, and including her best friend, pretty much, Captain Rex. It is a serious thing of gut-wrenching, tragedy to watch these people that they I don't say worshipped her, but they respected her so much that when she returned, because she kind of walked away from the Order, when she returned to help them with a mission, they all colored their helmets to look like her orange and white design on her tattoo, the tattoos and the design of her skin. out of respect, and then to just turn around and a day later or half a day later and start and try to kill her. And unfortunately, and she did manage to get Rex to get, to understand that Rex, even Rex was trying to resist, and Rex was like holding the gun to her and saying, "Find fives, find fives." If you don't understand what I'm saying, go watch the show. It's so good. It's so dramatic. It's so intense. I mean, you know that she survives, right? Because we have the show, but the Ahsoka live action. But in the midst of her trying to, hide in the ship and try to figure out what to do, she secures the help of 3 of these awesome droids. They are R7A7, CH33P, or Cheap, and RGG1. Now, you're not going to see these droids very much anywhere else because they pretty much sacrifice themselves to help Ahsoka, or just, being in the wrong place at the wrong time. So these are a great thing. Now, I'm not going to take these out permanently, but I am going to cut the tape just to pull them out and see if they have numbers. I do believe they are numbered. They tend to number these. So we have, this is VC202. So this is actually a repack, which is great, I don't know if the rest of them are repacks. VC322, that's R4A7. Okay, I'll go back here. Hold on a second. I just want to make sure I don't lose the order. There's Ahsoka. And again, this is just a repack of Ahsoka. They may have redone the face. I'm not sure. I'll have to look and compare. There's R7A7. By the way, I wish I could say it was a, crazy lightsaber injury. No, poison ivy. It happens. What are you gonna do? 323. Cheap. He's like the same kind of droid as Chopper. And I like this one. RGG1, 324. So 322, 323, and 324. All great droids. Now, I recognize that some are the type that will take these things out of the package, and when it comes to R2 units, I truly am an opener. I love opening them up. But as I said, I'm trying to amass a collection of carded VC figures in the hopes of one day selling it off as a complete set. Don't know if that'll ever happen. There are certain ones I haven't been able to get, but I have gotten most of them. So, in fact, I've gotten almost all of them. I think there's just maybe a handful that I haven't gotten yet. So, I keep these kind of stored in their container like that. So, we got some new, right? We got some of these guys, right? And then we've got some new but different. And then we've got, I'm doing my thumbnail in case you didn't know that, right? And then I got my, something very old, 1982, or I guess it was 83. So that'll do it for this episode of Darth Tuba Star Wars Unboxing Show. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification button, do all that other stuff. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you to Red 5 for supporting the channel. Be sure to check out all the other Red 5 Network podcasts and YouTube channels and everything else. All right, they have some great content. So until next time, may the Force and the toys be with you.